Tuesday, July 22nd was a monumental day for the history of the band Ghost because they completely sold out Madison Square Garden. I remember when they didn't even sell out a theater in our local hometown. Tickets for like $25. It was back in 2016. They were touring for the Meliora album. They were just popping up. They just won the Grammy for Cerise. They hadn't yet released Square Hammer, their biggest track to date. It's really cool seeing them grow from where they were 9 years ago to where they are now, where they completely sold out Madison Square Garden. They have such a bigger, more theatrical show. A semi-controversial decision made by the band was to completely ban devices. When you walk in, you put your phone in a Faraday bag and they give it to you. You hang it around your neck. I love it because it forces not only myself but everyone around me to remain in the moment. I actually really like these things, and I wish they would implement them in more shows because it keeps people present. It keeps people together.
And I think I'm speaking for women and shorter people all around that it's really nice to not have a bunch of arms up in the air during a performance. So that was nice. There was never a point where my view was blocked.
I never even thought of that. That's a good point. So in this tour, just like the Rats on the Road tour, there's no opener. It's just 2 full sets, just 2 full hours of Ghost. Very little compromise on the track listings. They've played some oldies they haven't in a while, like they played Elizabeth, and our favorite song, Monstrance Clock, they played yet again live. I remember it's been a long time since they played that song live, and I'm very happy that they did that again.
Yeah, they used to end every single show with it, and there was always a speech that went before, and they did not do the same speech. It was a rather explicit speech.
Here we celebrate the female orgasm.
They didn't give. Yeah.
There's definitely a little bit of a younger fan base listening to Ghost now, so it makes sense why they might need to tone down some of that, but it is a Ghost show, and of course, they did not hold back.
No, it was all Ghost.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. They played deep cuts. They played all the famous tracks. They played the entirety of the Satanic Panic.
They played Spirit, which I don't think we've heard them play live since the first time we saw them.
Yeah, they played Spirit from Meliora, which we haven't heard since the first time that, we saw them live in 2016.
So, Ghost, they always start their shows with the first track off of the album. So this time around, they started with the song Peacefield. And the first time we saw them, they were touring on the Meliora album, and the first track of that was Spirit. So that was the opener. That was like our first Ghost song, really.
That was the introduction to our obsession, was Spirit.
And of course the music is amazing, but there's also a heavy focus on the theatrics, and this time is no exception, although it definitely feels a little bit more stripped down and a little more raw than the Impera touring, especially with some of the costumes that Papa wore. I feel like they were a little bit more simple this time around. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed by the big Pope dress that he was riding on in, what song was
Call
that?
Me Little Sunshine.
In Call Me Little Sunshine. That looked cool, but I don't know, I didn't.
I thought it was cool.
I missed the fuck you jacket from the Imperator. Mm-hmm. I loved that jacket.
Yeah. Impera felt a lot bigger, like more of a stage show type of production, and this one, it feels a lot more raw and a lot more getting back to the basics. You could really feel the passion when he was singing some of those older songs like Elizabeth or Perispera ad Inferi. I'm happy with the amount of songs from Infestissimum that they played on this tour, because on the last tour that they did, I think they only played Year Zero.
I only think they played one song.
This time around, I think we got 4, right? We got Monstrance Clock, Perispera ad Inferi, Year Zero, and I think it was only 3, actually.
Wish they played Zombie Queen again.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a good live song.
Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about some of the merch that we got?
I spent all of my money.
So, got a t-shirt. We got a couple t-shirts, actually. I'll show picture so Luke doesn't have to get up. But the first well, you should be talking.
The first t-shirt we got was the Madison Square Garden exclusive t-shirt. Pictures will be up here. Has the tour dates on the back.
Has one tour.
Has a single tour date on the back. That was a mandatory witnessing Ghost history. The second shirt we got, which we're going to have a difficulty displaying.
Oh, I'll find a way.
You'll find a way.
From the pictures you're seeing, it might just look like a blue t-shirt.
Might just look like a blue t-shirt. But it has the lyrics to our song, Monstrance Clock. Which, you know, the lyrics are come together as one. And that's like that's our song. That's the song I proposed to my wife to. And when I did that, it was one of the last times they played it on tour. So I was very happy to see them play this song live again on the Skeletour.
And there's a lot going on for such a simple t-shirt design. I originally thought, because I'm such an innocent person, that they were just like maybe bones. It's the Skeletour.
Nope,
so
those are illustrations of people coming together.
a lot of people.
Coming together.
And I couldn't tell just looking at it from the merch booth. But then after I held it in my hands, and I have to say I couldn't think of a more Ghost thing to have.
It's very coital.
So in my head, I was thinking it was just super sweet because it's a sentimental thing that my husband and I share, but it turned out to be even better. So the last merch item was one that I chose to pick up.
We can't go anywhere without buying comic books, even a Ghost show. Where we picked up Volume 3. We had 1, we had 2, we had 4. It was really nice to be able to buy number 3 right from the merch booth themselves.
Yeah, Ghost released this comic book through Dark Horse called Sister Imperator. There were 4 issues. I was missing number 3, and so fans of my YouTube channel will appreciate seeing that. They had these really cool foil variants, and it was a little bit more than if you were to buy it off the shelf for cover price, but to get a cool variant, I was more than happy to pay the extra and give the money right to the band. And yeah, they had foils for all 4 covers. I would have liked to get them all. I could not afford all of them, so went with the one I was missing, and happy to finish that series. Ghost always has something good cooking.
If Tobias Forge publishes his grocery list, I'm going to read that too.
I mean, Madison Square Garden is huge, and they sold it out, but I never felt packed. I've been at sold-out shows where you're packed in like sardines.
There's no room to breathe. Mm-hmm. It takes forever to get drinks, but Madison Square Garden was pretty well spaced out. It was sold out, but I had room to breathe. It didn't take me forever to get drinks or merch.
Yeah, we were in the general admission area, and if you had general admission, you actually had your own special little lounge area, so we had our own special merch booth, so we didn't have to stand in line with everyone else.
This is our 11th time seeing Ghost. In fact, they have played in locations closer to us, but Madison Square Garden being such a monumental venue, it was important that we witness that history, and it just so happens to be on the day that the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne, passed away. And it was really heartwarming to see him dedicate the entire show to him. Still not real. It doesn't feel real to me that I'm living in a post-Ozzy Osbourne world.
Yeah, it was really sweet. There was an Ozzy chant that was going on for a while after Ghost made their announcement. Ghost is not much of a metal band these days, but their origins are in metal, for sure.
I wouldn't call Ghost a metal band in the exact same way I wouldn't call Dr. Pepper cola. Like, it's not cola, but it still sits next to Coke and Pepsi. It's not metal. Is Ghost a metal band? No, it just happens to be music that metalheads like. Metalheads like ourselves.
There weren't a lot of moments where Papa broke character, but when he spoke about Ozzy, it really felt like Tobias was coming through. And there were some other moments where it seems like Tobias was coming through, even though he didn't really go off script much.
Ghost performs at the Back the Beginning charity event, July 5th. And you could tell that the passing of Ozzy Osbourne shook him greatly because everyone, myself included, had only just heard the news. It just happened. And yeah, I've been to enough concerts and I've heard enough bands say that they do it for the fans. But Ozzy Osbourne held off dying to put on one last show. And that is such a work of showmanship. He wanted to give one last thank you to the fans, one last hurrah to heavy metal history. Ghost puts on such an energetic show. I think some highlights for me were definitely the song Umbra, which might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Ghost songs in their catalog. Monstrance Clock, obviously, that's our song. It's very important to hear them play that live. And I was very happy to see them play Spirit again. Spirit and Elizabeth, songs that I haven't heard live for years.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you have a taster in the darker side of life, if you're into heavy metal even a little bit, Ghost is a guaranteed blast. I have not seen them put on a bad show ever. They put their best foot forward every time they go on stage.
Yeah, Tobias, he puts his heart into everything that he does, and this new album, Skeletour, he describes it as about just getting to the bone of it. Like the last album, Impera, before this, was a very big, kind of epic album.
That was a very big album. It felt like it almost needed a stage to be heard, and that showed definitely during the Impera tour.
Impera felt like a performance, and it was a very good performance, but Skeletour feels real to Tobias in his heart. And I really appreciate that as a Ghost fan. It feels like we're getting to know the man behind the mask more.
Skeletour is the direct result of Ghost being told that they're not a metal band so often that Tobias unironically made a glam metal album. I absolutely love the album. It harkens back to a lot of, like, there's an Alice Cooper song on there. Missilia Amori harkens back to Alice Cooper.
I'm surprised they didn't play that one.
I'm very surprised they didn't play.
Live anthem
that sounds like a live song they would have had a blast live. They didn't play it, so hopefully they will the next tour, which we'll definitely be going to see because we need to make it even. We're at number 11. We've seen Ghost 11 times, which means we only have 89 more times before it's an even 100. So we have a little bit of show to see.
Like, guys, I can do with the no cell phone thing, but
a policy I think Ghost really needs to address is the no kitten policy. Now, if you're like Selena and if you've never listened to Ghost, I would recommend listening to them in order. Seeing the progression of the music from the Black Sabbath-esque riffs of Opus Eponymous, the psychedelic doom metal of Infest, to the more poppier rock hits of Meliora and Prequel. Do you have anything to say, Selena? Anything to say?
She just wants to be baby.
Thanks for helping me get over my after-concert depression.
Later.
Later.